So this is my audience member.
Hi.
Alright, and here's my setup here. Makeshift setup, so let's hope it holds. Okay. Alright, and let's get started. A type 1 diabetic since age 7, Jada Lewis found herself faced with a terrible choice this year. Pay her rent or pay the $300 cost of insulin. After rationing landed her in the hospital for a week in June, she returned home in apparent good spirits, but a week later, she was dead. Jada, a lifelong lover of the performing arts, had a job at the local movie theater, but it was not enough to allow her to consistently afford her medications. This was reported by Right Care Alliance in 2020. This is what's at stake: people's lives. Universal health care is key to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It prevents discrimination, and paying for health care shouldn't be a worry. I care because in my near future, I will be kicked off of my parents' health insurance around age 26, and will have to worry about finding my own. Also, I'm an empathetic person and care for the millions of people who die because they can't afford to get help when they need it to survive. First, I will explain why healthcare is a human right. Second, I will reveal how universal healthcare prevents discrimination against people with pre-existing conditions, race, and gender. Lastly, I will show you that healthcare shouldn't be a burden that people struggle or worry about. Healthcare should be free in America, and I will tell you why. Universal healthcare is key to the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness as Americans, which are the fundamental human rights that this country was built upon. If you get sick and don't have the money to afford care, it can lead to serious injury or death. According to recent analyzation, Tolbert, Orgera, and D'Amico in 2020 stated, beginning in 2017, the number of uninsured non-elderly Americans increased for 3 straight years, growing by 2.2 million from 26.7 million in 2016 to 28.9 million in 2019. The uninsured rate increased from 10% in 2016 to 10.9% in 2019. If we take a look at the PowerPoint presentation I provided, we see that even people with insurance are postponing care due to cost, which shows our insurance system in place isn't even taking care of people with coverage. Therefore, this reveals how expensive healthcare is, even because of people who have a portion of their bills paid off still avoid care, for they can't afford it. Overall, avoiding care leads civilians' health problems to grow increasingly worse and lead to lifelong injury or even death. Now that we have a clear understanding, let's continue discussing the topics at hand. Universal healthcare prevents discrimination. It prevents discrimination against people with pre-existing conditions, race, and gender. The Affordable Care Act, passed in 2010 and enacted in 2014, contains Section 1557, which is the non-discrimination provision. The law prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, national origin, sex, age, or disability. This act heads in the right direction towards universal health care, holding similar values. One important aspect of the Affordable Care Act forgot to include is income discrimination, which is seen in so many health insurance providers. With universal health care, it won't matter if an American citizen like you loses a job or is living paycheck to pay for their flu shot. It will all be covered. Keeping these points in mind, let me introduce the next subject. Healthcare shouldn't be a worry. Receiving healthcare shouldn't be a burden or struggle to come by. Imagine having a food allergy and carrying a constant worry wherever you go, not knowing if you'll accidentally consume something that'll kill you. This paranoia wouldn't be at your side if you could just be able to afford an EpiPen to save your life when you need it the most. My boyfriend, Adam, has endured the same troublesome worries. He never knew he had an allergy to peaches until 3 summers ago, on a small island with no hospital. He had his very first dance with death after eating a peach and went into anaphylactic shock. Fortunately, a friend had an EpiPen, or else he would have died. I interviewed him about the struggle to obtain EpiPens, and he said, EpiPens cost around $650 to $700. I have one left, but the problem is they expire, and you never know if you'll need one, and it may be a dud. He is absolutely correct. EpiPens expire in 12 to 18 months, and to be safe, you must have 2 EpiPens a year. That's about $1,400 a year. In an ideal United States with universal health care, there would be an abundance of EpiPens, and health insurance providers wouldn't be putting a price on the everyday Americans' lives. So I ask you, how much do you think your life's worth? Now, I would like to reflect on what we found. Ordinary civilians struggle to get the medicine and care they need. There shouldn't be a worry to obtain life-saving products. So today, I first described why healthcare is a human right. Second, I revealed how universal healthcare prevents discrimination. And finally, I showed why healthcare shouldn't be a burden. Universal healthcare is the key to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It prevents discrimination, and paying for healthcare shouldn't be a worry. In conclusion, health should be valued and deemed as a priority in the country. We can only have a great functioning society if that in it people thrive as equally as the rest.